Well, I mean, naturally, uh, it will affect agriculture. It has, as you said, it has destroyed hundreds of thousands of homes. It has killed cattle. A lot of Pakistanis, I mean, those who live in the cities don't realize that cattle is still, in Urdu and Punjabi, the cattle is still called mal, which means wealth, and it is the wealth of the rural people. So they have lost whatever wealth they had in those cattle. Cattle have been, they have been killed. They have died in flood waters, and uh, since people are unable to feed them or even feed themselves, they have let their cattle loose. I mean, so that means they have lost a very important source of their income. And all these will obviously have a huge impact on the Pakistani economy, and it will create even more problems for a country which always has a deficit. A country which always needs outside help even to meet its basic needs. So obviously, it is going to have a huge impact on the Pakistani economy. Pakistanis living in America, there are two, you can divide them into two or three categories. Number one, there are those who are, say, workers or who drive cabs, work in grocery stores and restaurants, and etc. And they earn enough to live comfortably and also to be able to send some money home. But even these people from these working classes, whenever they are mobilized, whenever they are made to realize that this is when Pakistan needs their help, they always come forward and help. I think even each of them, if they give, say, $100, $50 each, that will collect hundreds of millions of dollars. And they are not only capable of doing that, but they are also willing to do so. What you need is to reach out to them and persuade them to come forward and help those who are in distress in Pakistan. The embassy has launched an appeal asking them to come forward and help the flood victims, but the embassy is not enough. The embassy, the people who can be more effective than the embassy are the workers of these political parties who are everywhere, no matter which American city you go to, whether you're in Washington or in New York and in Houston or in Chicago or in Los Angeles. You always see PTI workers, number one, because most Pakistani Americans support PTI, but you also see PMLN workers, you also see PPP workers, and I think now it is up to these parties, and of course MQM also has a lot of supporters across America, so it is now up to these political parties to contact their workers and send them in the field, asking them to go and get in touch with local Pakistanis and collect donations and send them home. And then, of course, there are people like Pakistani physicians, doctors. There are thousands of doctors in this country who are, mashallah, quite well off, because doctors are, make good money in this country. And besides money, they also their skills are needed. They have access to drug companies and others, and they can use their influence to persuade these drug companies to send medicines to Pakistan. They can also collect medicines from various sources here and send them to Pakistan. Then there are Pakistani businessmen. There are not too many, but there are some very successful Pakistani businessmen, and there are a lot of small business owners in this country who own restaurants and stores and others. They also can, come forward and help. So I think the need is to get in touch with them. The need is to form groups at local levels, collect money, and create a central location where this money, where the medicines and other things can be collected and sent home. While doing so, I will also like to make a very important point. In the past, whenever we had, like I remember during the what it was 2010 or something, when we had another huge flood, and so Pakistanis collected a lot of funds and a lot of goods, and that included a lot of clothes that could not be sent to Pakistan, and therefore they were just they're just lost. I mean, they just they just were thrown away actually. So I would ask them not to donate clothes, because sending clothes from here to Pakistan is very expensive. It will be cheaper if they can send money. It will be cheaper to buy clothes in Pakistan, because Pakistan produces good quality clothes. Pakistan makes good quality dresses, and those clothes and those dresses can be purchased in Pakistan and distributed among the victims. So I would urge the Pakistani communities not to send clothes, but to sort of focus on financial donations and medicines and other things that are needed. Even sending blankets from America does not make sense. Send money for those in the field to buy blankets there. The first message that you and other media outlets should send out, that now is the time to shun politics, to give up politics, and focus on helping the victims. There are no ifs and buts. I mean, this is the top priority for the nation, and this should be the top priority for political parties. This should be the top priority for every Pakistani. Right now, we should focus on helping the victims. I think anybody who says otherwise, who thinks otherwise, is I won't say is not a Pakistani, because I don't believe in branding people, but I would say is mistaken. He or she should we all should focus on helping the victims. That should be our first priority. America was among the first countries to respond to this flood. Even before people in Pakistan started talking about it, the Americans first announced an assistance of $100,000, because they thought in the beginning it was a small local level sort of flood, and that can be dealt with. And then immediately after that, in the same day, they announced another $1 million, and then now they are actually planning to announce more assistance for Pakistan, and probably sending medicine and other things. And I think no matter how our relations are, and I think our relations are improving, but no matter how our relations are, Americans always come forward to help in these situations, and we should reach out to them. Not just the Pakistani government, but Pakistanis living in America should reach out to there are hundreds of charities here. There are hundreds of organizations here that do this kind of work, and we should reach out to them, and we should get them involved in helping the flood victims in Pakistan.